Well, hello, it's Tad McClellan again. Today we're going to go through some stitches. I'm going to teach you a couple of different ways to stitch things together or just decorative stitch. So we've already talked about this one right here, which is the saddle stitch, real simple. Two needles, one from each side with one piece of thread. And very nice for doing edges that are simple and it lasts. So this one we're gonna do is I'm just gonna cut a couple of pieces through here, and you can either cut some strips like I'm doing, or you can or you can just wait and choose which stitch you want to use for a project. But it would be good practice. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a few strips here. That one right there will work just fine. I just did about an inch wide. So an inch is that first main line right there. That's 1 inch. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this other side off. So line it up nice and square. And we'll just get rid of that. Alright, so now I'm going to cut this piece in half. And excuse me. So we've got, I'll just cut that off at 8 inches on that end. You don't need to have these exact dimensions. This is just for practice. I didn't quite get all the way through. There we go. Now I'll cut it at 4 inches. Let's see, if I go in this area for strips like this, I can line it up on both sides. It helps me get it straight. And I've got something to start against right here when I'm cutting. So here we go. Safety on. I'm trying to teach myself how to do that right. Alright, so now got 2 pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and put lines on both sides. Well, we'll just start with one side. This is just wide enough to be doing some work with. This would be a really good width for dog collar, especially if you were going to put the 2 ends together like this. That's about the right thickness for a good dog collar. In order to do it this way, though, you'd have to work it all the way around the outside. That might be something that we do actually, is to do a dog collar, to make one. We can also, look at those little cut right there. Anyway, this also wouldn't be terrible for bracelet or something like that, wrist wrap. 3/4 or 1/2 inch, so half of that for 3/4 would probably be a little bit better for doing a wrist wrap. But for this, for what we're doing here, is just an example of stitching. This is perfect. So I'm going to back set off the side here to line this up with by 1/4 inch. So so it's 1 inch wide. So if I line it up 1/4 inch right here, or it's 3/4 inches from this edge, but if I line it up 1/4 inch from that 1 inch line, that gives me the 1/4 inch sticking out on this end. So I've lined it up with these tick marks right here. And I'm just going to set my wheel we did with the wallets, right there on the end, and put some down pressure right here, and push it right across there and leave those marks right there. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one, except I'm going to do it on the opposite side so they fit together this way. So I'm going to mark it on this side. And the reason I do that is because that way my holes line up. So same thing. And since this is a 6.5 inch wide ruler, we have to offset right here. So we've got a 1/2 inch plus our 1/4 inch right here. So that's your 3/4 inch. We're going to line up on those lines right there and right there. And I'm not left-handed, but it's good practice. So you can see how awkward I am. Line it up right there. Shaky McShakerton. And run that down the line. Here we go. Hey, not bad for a right-handian. Okay, so now we're done with the ruler for now. Now we're going to poke our holes through both sides and then push all the way through. So we'll do the first poke. Be especially careful on the outside ends. Those are the ones that I always wind up putting this thing through my finger. I should explain. When I'm pushing these through, and I've got big hands, but you want to kind of set it right here, and then just that way when you're pushing it like this. I'll show you kind of upside down so you can see what I'm doing. Should have explained this before. So kind of like that. I'm holding it with these two fingers, steadying it here, and then giving it some push right here, but pulling this way with my leather. So see it sitting right there? That's real tough. I can stab a moose. Moose. Alright, so got our holes. Again, for not knowledge purposes, but for purposes of being able to see it very well, I'm going to use this lighter colored thread. This is a baseball stitch is what it is. So again, do our needles, poke it through the eye, pull it through about twice as far as the needle length, double back on the side that's not the tail, poke it through like that. Voila, one locked. We'll do the other one. Hydrate. Ice. All right. So you want to start from the inside. So we're going to start from the inside, coming up with that one, and coming up with this one. Now, if you don't mind seeing a lock stitch, essentially, I would call it a lock stitch because it locks the stitch. Anyway, we'll pull both of these through to where these are even. So we'll kind of hold them like that, get them close to even, but we want these edges to butt together. So just like that. So on the inside, you're going to see that. Now, if we were doing this, well, never mind. Never mind. So, like always, we're going to start with the same side every time. And so what we're going to do is we are going to get all the other stuff out of your way. Okay. We're going to take this one. We're going to go under this side. So it's going over the side that we're starting on and under the next side. And we're going to go directly into the next hole from the back side of the other side. Back side of the other side. Okay. And pull that through. Don't just pull it just barely snug. Not just, we don't want to pull it hard just yet. Okay. And actually I should turn it around because it's easier to stitch this way. So we got to remember we're going to start on the left side, go to the right, or whichever way you started. I'm going to go left to right. So, and you go whichever way you start. So back over just like that. Let's see if I can get it to go through. And this takes a little time to get it started because it likes to loosen up. It takes a little time for it to look like anything, but looks really neat when you get done. Okay, so we already got that to the left side, right? So we're going to pick up the same needle, same thing, up underneath there. And typically, whenever you're doing this stitch, whatever you're stitching together, I'm gonna widen my hole a little bit. Whatever you're stitching together is going to be larger than this. This is just for practice. So if you can do it like this, you get a hold of a larger piece, it's going to be way easier. All right. So you're starting to kind of see what it looks like baseball stitch there, right? We got three full stitches. So now I'm going to go back, go across the top of this one, under the other side. Notice how I put my thumbnail right next to the hole. Don't put your thumbnail over the hole. That hurts. Put it next to the hole, and it helps you push that needle through because it holds the leather steady. Alright, so again, pull it just slightly snug. We're going to work all this through in a minute and get it tightened up. Alright, now we got the left side, so we're going to do it. We're going to go back with it again. So we're going to start on one side and end on the same side. Get that one out of the way. Here you go. Just like that. A little snug. We'll get two more full stitches here, and then we'll snug her up a little bit. You can really see what it's going to look like. There we go. All right, now you can kind of start to see it a little bit. So what we're going to do is hold that steady. We're going to throw our all. Don't throw your all. It's only for clumsy old men. Heard of grumpy old men? Well, I'm a clumsy old man. I mean, man. So we're going to take our awl. We're going to use it to kind of position this one back in where we want it. Just use it kind of like a lever. Alright. So I can pull on this right here once I've got that kind of where I want it. I can also guide it somewhat from the back. Get where I want it. So I'm going to pull on this. So it's going to pull this one, that one, that one, and that one, right? Because they're opposites. Okay, so if I pull it tight and then I pull these back apart, it kind of snugged up both sides. I'm going to do it again with this side. And just pull just slightly. Do it again a couple of times. Now, set it down. to where I can hold it flat. And I'm going to pull both of them. And just kind of wiggle it. Maybe give it a couple of good tugs. And that works it tight up here. And if it's not tight, like that one, we're going to come up here and put our awl kind of flat with the leather, but just so it'll sneak up underneath this stitch right there. And then we're going to pull up. Hold the leather down. Sorry, hold the leather down and pull up. And we'll do the same thing with this side. Oops. I pulled the wrong one. There we go. And we'll keep working that forward. So when I pulled that one, I pulled that one. This one's going to pull that one. There you go. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. There we go. Now we'll pull the rest of that tight. See how I pulled that together? So what that does is that it'll leave a little bit of a gap there. The tighter you pull, the smaller the gap. But you get a baseball stitch on either side. And essentially what it's doing is the threads are crossing just like that and grabbing both sides of the leather. So the leather sits on both sides of that and it goes between them and it pulls both sides together. But it doesn't allow it to pass each other unless you get out of alignment. And it makes it harder to get it out of alignment, let's put it that way, because you got one going on the back from one direction and the other one going on the back from the other direction. And if you understood that, give yourself a hand and go eat a cookie. All right, so about every stitch will kind of snug now, and we'll just keep an eye on our tension. Hydrate. Oh, I worked hard today. Okay, left hand side for me. Get this out of the way. So as you get further along, it's going to get continually harder. Because you're going to have a bigger angle every time. Okay, snug. I'm just going to go ahead and chase. I'm going to grab the right side. Alright, now done a couple of good stitches there. So I'm going to pull her tight. See how it kind of pulled all those and lined them up real nice? So hold it down, waggle, 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 waggle. If it bunches up a little bit here, that's okay, because when I push down on that, it's going to pull those a little bit tighter. So see, that's a pretty good joint. And if it was tied off, it wouldn't loosen up like it is. But really strong. Boing, boing, boing. Boing, boing, boing. So now I'm going to tighten it up. Just like what I was doing before. I'm going to start back here. You can see there's kind of a gap right there. I'm going to go ahead and start clear back up here. Just give it a pull. Put it under, give it a pull. Move your pressure finger up every time. So when I'm pulling away. Pull away, pull away, pull away, pull away, pull away, pull away. Alright, well, I guess what we'll do is with the baseball, what you do is, wow, I marked it up pretty good, didn't I? Get it warm, rub that right out of there. Okay, good enough. With the baseball, it's round and it's already tight when you put this in. So what you do is you take one of your curved needles right there and you stick it in right to your next spot and then stick it through the baseball somewhat and then back out. So we can kind of do that with this by just flipping it over. Make sure you get that thread right where you want it, and you can we'll cross back and forth a couple times here. Bug. Do the same thing with both sides. Then we can tie a knot back here if you wanted to. This is a neat looking stitch, but it's kind of hard to make it work for something you're going to see on the inside. See that, can you? It's not very well. And I'm gonna go ahead and you could just cut those off and it probably wouldn't loosen up, but I'm gonna go ahead and tie a knot. Same thing, little square knot. So you just cross them, loop it through. Oh, boom. I'm gonna do it one more time. So cross, Make a loop like that. Pull it through. So now go ahead and cut those ends off. There we go. A baseball stitch. Good for giant. They call this a butt joint because it butts against each other. Like, maybe you could call it a knuckle joint. Give each other knucks. Don't leave me hanging. Are you leaving me hanging? You leave me hanging. It's okay. I like hanging out. All right, that's it. Baseball stitch. I'm going to leave this one alone. Yeah, I'll have the next video with another stitch. Next time. Thanks for watching.